and this is what I'm gathering when you teach us how to begin to find our story.
Yes.
You got to dig down and find out where that emotion is sitting there silent, looking for expression.
Yes, we take you to that place where you can access that. And through speaking from that place, you're able to have a universal voice that people cannot not hear you. When you speak, they will have to listen.
They will have to listen?
Yes, they cannot resist it. When I speak, people have to listen, even if they don't like what I'm saying.
Now, how did you get the world to listen, even though you were a different color paint?
Because the word in the beginning was God, right? That transcends all of the things that they have, the preconceived ideas about my paint job, not having the complexion of connection.
Woo!
Yes. That's why they said about Jesus, never speck a man.
Ah, Yabo Shata. Oh my God. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. So even you could teach young black men, even if they don't have the complexion of connection, the word can resound out of them and give them a stage and a platform that otherwise they could not stay.
I've trained hundreds of kids how to do that. My son, John Leslie, has been speaking for corporations since he was a teenager. And now he earns $7,000 an hour. My daughter Ona earns $12,000 an hour. I have another daughter named Samaya who said, Daddy, I'm not the type to speak. But after watching her brothers and sisters, she said, Daddy, I got a story to tell. I got a story too. Now she want to speak now. She's going to speak, and she's the most talented of all my kids. You're going to meet her. They all want to come here and spend time with you.
Oh, we're going to do something here.
Oh, yes.
Now, I put in here, worry is the negative side of meditation. If you're worrying, you're meditating in the wrong direction.
That's right. If you pray, don't worry, and if you worry, don't pray. Because you can't have two thoughts occupying the same space. When you go to a service station, before you put your gas in, you pull the lever up so it can clear everything that's there. Yeah. So the prayer creates a clearing. It creates a space for your mind to be, as we talked about the other night, a trap for the thoughts of God that will give you your direction.
Yes.
And that's where the prophet comes in.
Yes and yes. Here is another thought here in cosmic economics. Your imagination is the place where your plans and ideas evolve.
Einstein said the imagination is a preview of what's to come.
Yes.
The reason that most people are not forwarding themselves, and the reason that I was stuck for 14 years, I was living out of my history, out of my memory, as opposed to my imagination.
Oh, shut up,
But less now.
Because you got some potent stuff in here.
Yeah. I'll go
this
into
is a potent, ladies and gentlemen. This I don't know if you don't get this soon, it's going to be taken off the shelf because it's illegal. It's just too potent. You're talking about a weapon of mass destruction to all the negative thoughts and attitudes and the poverty consciousness in your life. It will kill. This is an assassin's handbook. Oh, excuse me.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love this. Oh my goodness. Because I get into a lot of things here with imagination. One of the things that I learned is that imagination is creation. I live by that. And that our imagination gives us the previews of coming attractions. And so every house I've ever purchased, Les, even the one that you stayed in and the one that you saw, the other one.
I call it the castle.
The castle, yes. Every one of those, I could never afford to get it when I got it. What I had to do with it, I entered into a technique, and we teach you this in cosmic economics. I enter into the theater of my imagination and see myself as God sees me, perfect, whole, complete, and divine. And I began to enter into that house. Remember when Jesus says, I go away to prepare a place for you, and if I go, I will come again and receive you unto myself. I allow my spirit to go away and prepare that place for me, to sleep in every bedroom, to walk through the house, the house that I could not afford, the house that I could not come into physically. It's unlawful for me to come into it physically, but it's lawful for me to be in there spiritually. And then when I become fully aware that it is mine and I grab it in my spirit as I deserve it, then I go back and receive my physical body unto itself, that where I am, then there the body may be also.
Yes.
This is all imagination. I've done that with currency. I've done that with getting TV time. I've done that because I realized I was not going to get any backing from anyone. And so what I done, I found these secrets and I put them in a system called cosmic economics because I wanted to show people that there's a spiritual side to money. This, a matter of fact, this here is the lowest form of money. This is what we learned here. This here is the lowest form of money. This here, when we say it is the lowest form of money, because this here, because the highest form of money is I am money. We cover this in cosmic economics. So I walk around in the consciousness of I am money. And then there's the psychology of money. Then there becomes the body of experience of money. And this becomes the lowest form. What happens is that most people chase the lowest form instead of the highest form.
Yes.
And so the difference is that when I get into the consciousness that I am money, then money will begin to add itself unto me in form because I am that in consciousness.
It's like attracts like.
Yes. It is like, and it is the law of attraction. So when we begin to enter into our imagination, you need to create imaginary dollars. You need to come into it, the imaginary house. Why is it that the Bible says a wise woman builds a house? Well, it's important for you as a parent to give your children doll houses. Give your girls doll houses to play. The reason why many of you don't have a house because you never, as a girl, had a doll house. See, the building of the house starts in the infant.
Yes. Because they're molding then what they will be in the future.
Yes. And then they start looking for their prince that will begin to finance the housing project.
And you empower them through this message to have a sense of deservingness to attract a man who will provide and protect rather than a sperm donor.
Exactly. And then the wedding is only looked at that you're Cinderella for a day.
Wow.
So that you begin to now have the life happily ever after because you've been playing all that time with your dollhouse. You've stored that dollhouse. You've had your kitchen in that home. And the Bible says wisdom, a wise woman builds a house. The house is only as large as the vision of your mate.
Yes.
It's all done in imagination.
But you don't think like that when you're operating in survival mode.
Right. You said something to me today, and I don't know if you could share this, but this was powerful, that some students was in a particular project, and they told them to imagine what life would be like.
Yes.
And they couldn't
Yes.
see past a certain area.
Yes. One of my former students who passed, named Lakeisha, and she asked them to create a scenario of your ideal life. And the first scene they created was a drive-by shooting. And so she says, no, go back and create an ideal life. What do you see your future looking like? The next one, they had a scene of a basketball game that ended in a fight. Okay? And the next one was a dance, and there was a stabbing that took place. And so she said, no. So finally, she didn't want to tell them what to do. So she says, this is your world, and I want you to come up with a world where there's no fighting, no violence. And so she waited for an hour and a half, and she said, boy, they're really coming up with something great and creative. She had great expectations. It took longer. She went in a room, and they were asleep because they're products of their environment. If you are seeing, there's a book called Constant Shock, Common Shock, that a friend of mine named Jackie Gaynor lived by the airport in Miami. And I said, Jackie, how could you live here? The planes fly over all the time. And she said, I don't hear them. And I leased that apartment from her, and after 3 months, I didn't hear them anymore. But everybody who came over heard it. So killings and death and crime has become so common in our community